Let the show begin, and welcome back to McNulty's Book Corral, where I swig beer like a dry-mouthed monkey in a rainforest, sucking raindrops off a banana leaf. Write that down, you writers out there. That's a good line. You should use it, and let me know. I'll buy the book. Okay, so a couple of weeks ago, we were doing an episode where I was walking and talking about doing an unboxing of some pulp magazines I had put away, and I have a bunch of those. So I grabbed one, and I finally did that, and this is that episode, and it's going to be split into three. Because I found when I did the box, I looked at it, I had three different types of pulp magazines in there. Okay, and weird. It's about 5 years ago I did this when I was putting things into storage. So let me show you that. Well, hang on a second. I got to take a sip. That'll do it. That'll warm you right up. And so here's the box. It's a comic box. All right. So this is going to be the first episode. I'm going to take them right off the top, and I will do this stack first, and then episode 2 and 3 will be the remainder of what's in here. And I'm going to try and make these, not too long. And we're going to have fun with it. All right. So fun is the key word when you're collecting pulp magazines. So let's take a look here. I took some notes when I went through them. There's some fun stuff here. Okay, so first up, we're going to take a look at Fantastic Adventures from September of 1947. And this is really a low-grade copy. But this is about Carl Tanzler, and his picture is going to pop up here. He was interesting guy. Okay, so some of you may be familiar with this story. He is a corpse stealer and so forth. So before we get to the story that he wrote, which is in here, it's called The Secret of Elena's Tomb. By his full name was Carl Tanzler von Kassel. He was a German immigrant, and he became a radiologist. Early days of radiology. He was not a medical doctor. He befriended a family in the late 20s, early 1930s, and there was the young girl was Elena Milagro de Hoyest, and she suffered from tuberculosis. And people were gullible, and he took advantage of them. This is my opinion. And she died, and she was buried, and he loved her. It's a love story. And when she died, this is in Key West, and when she died, he had a tomb built for her. And by the way, you can Google all of this. There are YouTube videos aplenty about this event. I'm only going to give you a rundown leading to this to the story he published in Fantastic Adventures in 1947. So Carl stole the body in 1933 from the Key West Cemetery, from the tomb that he had paid for her to be in, and he would go visit her nightly, and then he finally stole her. He's in love, okay? Yes, it's that type of story. He's a body stealer. And, of course, she'd been in the tomb for a couple of years by the time he stole the body, so he had to keep her bones together. She decomposed, and he used piano wire. And then he replaced her decomposing skin with silk cloth soaked in wax. So here's a picture of Elena when she was alive, and we have a picture of her when, of course, he's discovered a couple years later. This is what she looked like when they discovered her body in his bed, where she would be until it was uncovered. So she was stolen in 1933, and in 1940 they discovered it, and I'm giving you a short version of this. And he was taken into custody and charged, but he wasn't imprisoned long, and he was released on a technicality. I'm not clear on that. I didn't look into that too closely. But the issue is here that he kept this body with him. Now, the big question that comes up with a lot of people talking about this story is, did necrophilia happen? Did he engage himself physically with the body? There seems to be very strong indication that he did. I'm not going into that. I believe he probably did. He was... Carl Tanzler was not in his right mind. When you're keeping a corpse in your bed and you're covering the body with silk and wax, and here are the photos again of her body as they discovered her, that's not normal behavior. you know. So anyways, that's what happened. He gets released, and in the years before he died in 1952. He was born in 1877. He died in 52. He made another effigy of her out of wax, her face, and you can see the pictures of that. Him holding the effigy. Strange man, right? So he even built an airplane or a rocket ship to put her body in, so he wanted to take her off into the stratosphere. That's how wild the story gets, and this is just a brief rundown on it. Okay, so with that said, in this magazine, he published what is mistakenly referred to as his autobiography by various web pages and people that have looked into this. It's a fictionalized version of what happened, and the reason I say that is because first of all, I don't believe he wrote it himself. I believe a writer was assigned to him, probably by the editors of Fantastic Adventures, and who knows, maybe Paul Fairman did it, helped him with it. I don't know who helped him. There's no record of that. I don't believe he wrote it for himself, if at all. It was clearly fiction. He's talking to the corpse constantly. She is responding constantly. It's a work of fiction based upon the events that landed him in trouble. Possibly it was written as a legal maneuver to keep him out of jail, although many years had passed. 7 years later, he publishes the story in this magazine, for which he was probably paid a tidy sum at the time. So there's a lot of issues here. There's a biography about this out there. You can find that easily enough. So that story is in this issue, my low-grade copy of Fantastic Adventures from September of 1947. This was the first one on the top. And I remember buying this years and years ago, probably at the Windy City Pulp and Paper Convention, for nothing, because it's really low grade. So anyways, there's one of them that I uncovered, all right? So it truly is a fantastic story, is it not? All right, up next, Amazing Stories, 1948. I think is this the right one? No, this is, November of 48. We have Berkeley Livingston did some stories in here. Berkeley Livingston, his name comes up a lot in the pulps, and here is that issue we're going to talk about the cover in a minute. And Berkeley Livingston was really Berkeley Burrow Livingston, born in 1909. He died in 1975. He was a prolific pulp writer, pulp adventure stories. I've never seen if there's a collection of his stories. There should be. He wasn't bad, There's also a story in here by Alexander Blade, which was another house name, and so forth. So, Amazing Stories is another one of the great pulps from the Golden Age. And this cover is interesting because I think this is a perfect example on how cover artwork draws you into the story. In previous episodes I've talked about the hook. The first paragraph can be a hook for pulp fiction stories to hook you in, and you want to read the rest of it. Well, the cover does that too. And the pulps were masters. The pulp artists were masters of this. So with one artistic rendering, they create a story based upon something in the magazine, and you want to read it. So we have this ragged-looking guy. He's exhausted, and he's looking up the hill at the castle, and around him are these little leprechaun-type people or aliens or whatever they are. I don't remember in the story what they are. I don't know if I wrote that down. It doesn't matter because you want to read it. So this is why the pulps were such a major issue for entertainment, and that's why the artwork for pulp magazines and comic books is so revered. These painted covers were so imaginative, and there's a perfect example from the pulps. And we're going to go to another Fantastic Adventures, January of 52. Ivar Jorgensen has a story in here, and Paul W. Fairman, and so forth. So Paul W. Fairman, by the way, was the associate editor of Fantastic Adventures. He was also a writer I've mentioned in previous episodes, some way back, I don't know when. I like his writing a lot, and so when I see Paul W. Fairman stories or books, I read them. He wrote under the name Ivar Jorgensen. And that story in here is called Rest in Agony. And then he has a story under his own name in here, and he's the associate editor, and that's called Secret of Gallows Hill, which is fun, and so Virgil Finley did the artwork for some of this stuff. The cover features Rest in Agony by Ivor Jorgensen, and you have a damsel being threatened by green aliens, and by this time, 1952, late 40s and into the 50s, aliens are green. Not always, but most of the time they're green. So this was a fun issue to read. Really good stuff. Really enjoyed that. Future science fiction from January of 51. This also features some aliens, but they have kind of that brainy look to themselves, Sometimes aliens are depicted with big eyes and in large heads because they're supposed to be superior intellects, and this is perfect. And again, we have the attractive female on the cover to bring you into it. The females in the stories are almost exclusively in danger or enticing for whatever reason, and that lends a lot of allure to the story. Pulp fiction adventures, for the grand sweep of it, for the most part, are entertainments. You get into the serious stuff later. That happens too. Science fiction is the literature of ideas, but it was also first and foremost a literature of entertainment. And let us not forget that, okay? And while I'm telling you not to forget that, don't forget to sit back in your chair and have a sip. Oh yeah, that'll give me. This is my Jesse James souvenir cup from his home. All right. How about another? I really like Fantastic Adventures. April of 1948, we have Lair of the Grimalkin by G.H. Irwin. Again, we have an enticing cover where the female is prominently displayed, and the little alien creatures are kind of like, what's going on? So when we look at this stuff, we're thinking to ourselves, well, what's going on with her? And we want to read the story. Great hook, right? All you have to do is look at the cover and I'm going to read that. And they're fun. This is not Shakespeare. Doesn't need to be. All right, 1947, Startling Stories is another one that I love. I wish I had a whole run of these. I don't have that many. I have more in another box. This one's fun because, what was this? This was May of 47. This is Henry Kuttner, Lands of the Earthquake, a complete novel. It's really not that long. It's more of a novella. And interesting to me because I'm a Kuttner fan. With all of the collections of Kuttner stories, we really still don't have everything that he did with himself or with his wife. It's I've never seen this one reprinted. If you know of one, let me know. I kind of briefly went back and looked at my collections. I don't remember seeing Lands of the Earthquake by Henry Kuttner reprinted. We have the girl, of course, foremost, and she's a tough-looking lady, and she's got a laser gun in her hand, and that's cool, man. So we're having fun with that. Also in this issue with Kuttner is a story by Manly Wade Wellman and Robert A. Heinlein. So you get a double bonus there. And that leads us to Fantastic Adventures from September of 1949 with a story by Berkeley Livingston, Invasion of the Plant Men. The aliens are green again. Now, Berkeley Livingston's an interesting guy. He comes up all the time in pulp magazines. Another prolific writer. His real name was Berkeley Burrell Livingston. He was born in 1909 and he died in 1975. It seems like I have tons of stuff with Berkeley Livingston in it. That he was just all over the place. So this is 25,000 word. They're calling it a novel. It's a novella. And it's, Berkeley Livingston was good. I mean, if you're looking at old pulps and you see the name, I would recommend the Berkeley Livingstons. It's the best story in this issue. And once again, we have the attractive female and we have the aliens are green. She's with a real strong looking male figure here. That's not unusual either. And it's fun stuff. Weird creatures from outer space attack the Earth. You gotta love it, I mean, it's just so much fun. All right, finally the last one, Fantastic Adventures, one of my favorite magazines. And I have some more of these. All right, so this one is from October of '52. The cover features a depiction of a story by Lawrence Chandler, Is This the Way Home? And here is that classic cover from 1952. This is a 20,000-word novella. Again, Laura, L-U-R-A, strays from the interplanetary railway and joins a nudist colony in space. As you can tell, there's a lot of enticement in that. And so forth. This issue also includes a. It also feels well to me when I touch it. That's a Freudian slip. Anyways, see, I cracked myself up on that, didn't I? All right, here we go. Yeah, that'll knock your toes, curl them right up. All right, this issue, as I was saying, includes a story called Doom Jungle by guess who? John Jakes. I haven't talked about John Jakes. What a prolific writer that guy was. John Jakes is in here with Laura and her intergalactic nudist colony adventure. So there you go. Just a little first look into this box. And in a couple of days, I'm going to post the next one. And we'll do all three in a row. I have 3 different types of pulp magazines in this box. And if you like this, let me know and I'll pull another box out. I have plenty more to come. In the meantime, stay well, stay happy. Have yourself a glass of something wicked and read a book.